You keep building cloud flows like it's still 2019. Everyone does. It's muscle memory at this point. Open Power Automate, select automated cloud flow, pick your trigger, chain a few connectors, hit save, and feel productive. Unfortunately, you've just constructed a very expensive habit, because every time you do this under the old licensing model, you're paying premium for the plumbing Microsoft has already decided to replace. The problem isn't the flow itself, it's the license that drags behind it like an anchor. Cloud flows live under per user or per flow plans, both tied to execution limits, connector classifications, and enough small print to qualify as bedtime reading. Add a single premium connector like Dataverse, SQL, or Salesforce, and congratulations, you've just promoted everyone who touches that process into the premium licensing tier. Translation: one department's automation becomes another department's budget crisis. And yes, cloud flows are reliable. They've automated half the modern enterprise, but that reliability comes with fiscal inflammation, per user fees, duplicated AI builder credits, throttled API calls, and a delightful surprise when you realize automation costs more in licenses than the task you automated. You think you're saving labor, you're just moving the cost column from salaries to subscriptions. The revelation is that inside Copilot Studio lives a new kind of automation: agent flows. These run on message-based billing, not per-user taxation. They include premium connectors by default and borrow AI Builder's intelligence without charging double. They scale like a metered utility, not like a fixed payroll. Before you build another cloud flow, let's dissect why the old system bleeds money and why the new one behaves like a responsible adult. What cloud flows actually cost you. Cloud flows operate on the Power Automate licensing matrix, a structure so intricate it deserves a Power BI dashboard just to survive it. The basic idea is simple: you pay per user or you pay per flow. Both strategies sound fair until you notice how fast fair metastasizes into financial absurdity. Under a seeded license like Microsoft 365, E3, or E5, you get access to standard connectors. The Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, fine. But the moment your data wanders into premium territory, Dataverse, SQL Server, Salesforce, ServiceNow, you trigger the premium tax. One premium connector doesn't just mark your flow as special, it radiates expense outward. Everyone who runs, owns, or even glances at that flow now needs an upgraded license. The flow that sends meeting summaries suddenly requires enterprise sponsorship. Picture this: one HR assistant builds a flow that connects to Dataverse to compile onboarding data. 20 managers use it. By the end of the fiscal quarter, you've effectively turned one workflow into 20 premium licenses, each between $15 and $40 a month. Multiply that by departments and you've just automated yourself into molten debt. Your CFO is not impressed. Then there's API call throttling, the invisible choke collar hiding in every Power Automate plan. Each license grants a defined number of daily API calls, essentially how many times your flow can talk to a service. E3 users get a few thousand, premium plans get more, but each transaction still burns through the quota. Hit the ceiling and flows slow or fail. It's a productivity tax disguised as a performance safeguard. Analogy time. Cloud flows are like giving every employee their own taxi and paying the lease whether they drive or not. The meter runs even when parked. Agent flows, which we'll dissect shortly, work more like a rideshare. You pay only for trips taken. The difference isn't subtle, it's structural. And we haven't even tallied the hidden duplication of AI Builder credits. Want to extract data from an invoice? Recognize text in a document? That's AI Builder, and its credits are billed separately, even if you've already paid for Power Automate Premium. You maintain two parallel currency systems, one for automation, another for intelligence. Elegant, in the same way paying rent and homeowners association fees simultaneously is efficient. Operationally, cloud flows create what I like to call license sprawl. Every new scenario threatens to spin out another license type, another set of API counters, another spreadsheet tracking compliance. Enterprises end up managing the license inventory with more rigor than the processes those flows were meant to automate. So while cloud flows remain technically brilliant, financially they are undomesticated. They consume per-user fees, throttle API volume, and breed complexity with every premium connector added. For small teams, that might be tolerable. For a large organization, it's a slow hemorrhage. Now enter the new species, agent flows, running on a completely different metabolism. Enter agent flows, automation with a Copilot brain. Agent flows don't live in Power Automate's old neighborhood. They've moved into Copilot Studio, which runs on entirely different physics. Instead of being chained to a user license, they operate on the principle of message consumption. Every action you take, every API call your automation makes, consumes tiny measurable units called messages. You're not paying for who built it or who runs it, you're paying for what it actually does. Radical, I know, charging for usage instead of possession. So how does this work in practice? Each 100 API calls cost roughly 13 cents. That's it. Run 1,000 actions, about $1.30. No hidden multipliers tied to how many people touch the flow. No forced upgrades just to unlock Dataverse or SQL connectors. In agent flows, premium is no longer a caste system. It's simply included. The result is an automation model that scales linearly, predictably, and sanely. For once, your finance department and your tech team speak the same language. Consumption equals cost. And then there's architecture. Cloud Flows run in Power Automate's tenant-level workflow engine, designed for persistence, sharing, and human-triggered events. Agent flows live inside Copilot Studio's AI runtime. Their triggers are conversations, AI events, or back-end signals from services, anything from user asked me to draft a contract to someone entered data that matches this condition. They are orchestrated intelligence, not mechanical automation, which is why they're called agent flows. Each one extends your Copilot's brain with executable memory. Here's the big philosophical difference. Cloud flows automate labor. Agent flows automate decision-making. A cloud flow might move files from SharePoint to OneDrive. An agent flow decides which files matter, summarizes them using AI Builder, and posts the relevant pieces to teams, charging only for the execution steps it actually performs. The more intelligence embedded, the more return per message consumed. Access to premium and custom connectors comes standard here. Copilot Studio doesn't discriminate between standard and premium. Whether you tap Dataverse, a third-party API, or a custom connector, it still just counts as messages. You break free of the connector class hierarchy. Developers suddenly regain the freedom to architect efficiently instead of chasing the cheapest permissible connector. And because the entire environment sits under Copilot Studio, AI Builder capabilities, text recognition, prediction, document extraction are included under the same consumption model. Those extra AI credits you were tracking in Excel? Gone. They're baked into the meal. Think of this as switching from buying every employee a company car to issuing them ride credits. You manage by budget, not by ownership. If one project spikes temporarily, say a seasonal campaign, you scale up message usage for that window and stop paying when demand ebbs. You're no longer provisioning horsepower for a year just to cover next week's sprint. By 2025, message counts themselves will migrate into Copilot credits. Similar idea, fancier wrapper. You'll buy credit packs the same way cloud providers sell compute units, measured, enforceable, transparent. Copilot Studio even tracks your hourly and daily quotas, caps requests at configurable limits, and begins throttling at roughly 125% capacity to prevent runaway costs. It's the governance cloud flows always needed but never delivered out of the box. The takeaway is simple. Agent flows replace licensing anxiety with arithmetic. You know exactly what you're consuming, you know exactly how it's built, and you gain access to every intelligent building block in Copilot Studio without additional paperwork. It's speed with accountability, a kind of automation that finally behaves like a responsible adult. When agent flows replace cloud flows and when they don't. Think of Power Platform automation now as a society with a division of labor. Cloud flows are the industrial workforce. Efficient, standardized, designed for volume. Agent flows are the brains, adaptive, conversational, and run on caffeine in the form of Copilot messages. The trick is knowing when you need muscle and when you need intellect. Agent flows dominate when automation begins in conversation. Anything that starts with a Copilot prompt, a chat, or a service event is their home turf. For example, suppose someone asks Copilot for the 5 open deals from Salesforce where close dates slipped last week. That's an agent flow trigger. It interprets, queries, formats, and returns results, all while charging you by the message, not by user. Same if Copilot detects a pattern in data or needs to call a custom connector mid-dialogue. These flows are one-to-one interactions. A user or an AI agent initiates and consumes them. That's where message-based billing makes mathematical sense. Cloud flows, in contrast, remain the backbone for coordination, processes that stretch across multiple accounts, shared folders, or departmental approvals. If 10 managers need the same workflow running on files in SharePoint or approvals in Teams, cloud flows still win. Their licensing may be expensive, but their architecture supports shared ownership, scheduled runs, and complex triggers that don't depend on conversation. They remain essential for enterprise-scale orchestration, where automation acts like infrastructure rather than assistance. The clean way to think about it, agent flows are personal assistants born inside AI. Cloud flows are corporate assembly lines hosted in the cloud. Converting one to the other isn't as mystical as it sounds. You start by making your cloud flow solution-aware. That means moving it from the personal workspace into a managed solution in Dataverse. Once there, a drop-down appears for its plan: Power Automate or Copilot Studio. Flip that switch and the flow migrates into Copilot Studio's environment. The licensing instantly changes from per user to consumption-based. From that moment forward, you're billed in messages, not monthly fees. However, and here is the design choice Microsoft enforces, that conversion is irreversible. Once it drinks the agent flow potion, it stays an agent flow. The system won't let you switch it back without rebuilding it from scratch. This commitment exists to keep the billing model clean. It's like moving into a gated AI city. You don't just visit the suburbs on weekends. You live under new governance, new metrics, and new economics. This is where many admins hesitate. The old reflex says, keep critical flows in Power Automate. They're stable. Yet Copilot Studio now introduces governance features previously reserved for managed environments. Draft saving, version history, audit logs, controlled publishing. Suddenly the AI neighborhood looks more compliant than the traditional one. Agent flows bring enterprise hygiene, history tracking, role-based permissions, predictable quota enforcement, all in the same window where you design intent-based automation. So where's the cutoff line? Use agent flows when trigger, logic, or execution depends on conversation, interpretation, or AI cognition. Use cloud flows when coordination, repetition, and visibility across users matter more than intelligence. The distinction isn't superiority, it's purpose. One automates thought, the other automates structure. And here's the irony. Many organizations are already paying for both without realizing it. Copilot Studio capacity silently includes automation headroom, yet teams keep buying separate Power Automate premium plans. Migrating lightweight or chat-triggered processes into agent flows prevents double taxation. The result? Same capability, cleaner budget. All this talk about cost and capability matters only when you can measure the difference. And spoiler, you can. Because the math isn't theoretical, it's mercilessly concrete. So let's quantify what cheaper and smarter really means. The math of cost efficiency. Numbers don't lie, they just wait patiently while users misunderstand them. So let's translate the economics of Power Automate into something measurable. Cloud flows pretend to be cheap because the sticker price hides behind a monthly license. But when you multiply that license by real usage, the number of users, runs, and premium connectors involved, the illusion collapses. Take a standard premium plan, $15 to $40 per user per month. Seems tolerable until you realize you're paying that regardless of how many runs those users actually trigger. It's the all-access buffet model. Pay once, consume infinitely, or in most cases, barely touch the plate. You're subsidizing the employees who automate rarely, while the heavy users hit throttling ceilings halfway through the business day. Economically absurd, but predictable in legacy software models built for perpetual subscription revenue. Now contrast that with agent flows. Every action inside an agent flow consumes a fraction of a message. Microsoft's math roughly equates 100 actions or API calls to 13 cents. So a process that loops through 100 records and executes 3 actions per record performs 300 API calls. Multiply by that conversion rate, 300 divided by 100 equals 3 message units, which equals about 39 cents. That's the entire run cost. Not per user, not per month, per execution. Run it daily for a month and you spend around $12. Run it once a quarter and it's literally pocket change. The beauty is linearity. Message-based consumption scales directly with workload. Double the records, double the spend. No hidden tiers, no forced plan upgrades to unlock extra API calls. Cloud flows, meanwhile, punish you with step function expenses. Hit a threshold, upgrade the license, and pray procurement approves it before end-of-day automation failures start pinging teams. The message model eliminates that cliff entirely. Think of cloud flows as the all-you-can-eat buffet priced per diner. Fine if every seat is full. Financially ruinous when half the chairs are empty. Agent flows are à la carte. Pay only for the bytes taken. The outcome is proportional economics. Finally, suddenly, architecture meetings sound less like tax planning and more like engineering again. You design for efficiency, not license avoidance. This clarity extends beyond pure arithmetic. Copilot Studio logs every agent flow message, displaying consumption by hour, trigger, and connector type. You can trace cost spikes to specific automations instead of guesstimating next quarter's bill. Cloud flows, you get API call bundles scattered across user accounts like airline miles, impossible to consolidate before they expire. One produces actionable telemetry, the other produces spreadsheets labeled current guess. Even governance adopts math as morality here. Copilot Studio enforces quotas, messages per hour, per day, per month. Hit 125% of your purchased capacity, and it halts new executions. No surprise invoices, no ghost usage. Administrators appreciate predictable ceilings more than budgetary heart attacks. You can always buy additional Copilot credits, granular, measurable packs that match genuine demand. That's cloud economics behaving responsibly for once. Design strategy changes too. Developers now think like economists. A sloppy loop that makes 5 redundant API calls costs real money. Combine actions efficiently and you halve the expense. Optimization isn't theoretical anymore, it's financial hygiene. Modern automation equals computational thrift. Rare sentence, but satisfying to say aloud. And when Copilot credits fully replace raw messages, expected soon, the system stays the same, just more unified. Credits become the universal currency across all Copilot experiences. Your team spends from one account, whether you're powering AI builders, prompts, or agent flows. The accountant doesn't care which service consumed them. It all funnels through the same predictable consumption ledger. So after you've seen this math, the question shifts radically. It's no longer, should I migrate to agent flows? It's, why haven't we? Because sticking with cloud flows is like paying a monthly gym membership for every employee instead of buying a treadmill per use. Agent flows bill the heartbeat, not the heartbeat's owner. 39 cents never looked so liberating. The strategic shift. Automation becomes AI native. For years, Microsoft Power Automate sat at the center of enterprise workflows. It was the plumbing routing data from A to B, while employees sat on top improvising the logic. But when Microsoft introduced Copilot Studio and Agent Flows, the subtext was clear. Automation is no longer a mechanical layer, it's becoming an intelligent organ. That's not marketing fluff. It's a tectonic redefinition of what automation even means inside the Microsoft ecosystem. Cloud flows were designed back when automation was a glorified macro recorder. Humans triggered things, systems executed, done. They functioned like highways, wide, predictable, built for volume. But Copilot Studio shifts the lane entirely. Agent flows are self-driving. They don't need you to schedule or manually press run. They interpret context, trigger themselves, evaluate data, and even reformulate actions through natural language models. They're automation plus cognition, and Microsoft has made it very clear. This is the new architectural North Star. Every major Microsoft product now has a Copilot inside it. Word, Outlook, Dynamics, Teams. Each of them runs intelligent agents that make small autonomous decisions. Agent flows are the connective tissue uniting those brain cells. Instead of dozens of cloud flows pinned between different apps, you now have one intelligent substrate running inside Copilot Studio, coordinating tasks for every Copilot across your tenant. The automation layer migrates out of user control panels and into a single AI-native orchestration brain. This isn't just a design evolution, it's licensed strategy in disguise. By segregating classic automation from AI-native automation, Microsoft aligns billing with capability. Cloud flows stay under Power Automate, a world of per-user plans and enterprise scaling fees. Agent flows live in Copilot Studio, inside Copilot's message or credit economy. The strategic message, automation that relies on intelligence, should inherit the business model of AI, not the relic of legacy workflow engines. And the governance realities, once the final refuge of stick with what we know, have also migrated. Draft saves, versioning, audit logs, controlled publishing, agent flows ship with them. Features companies use to justify Power Automate premium plans now appear by default when you build in Copilot Studio. Microsoft didn't just replicate Power Automate's safety rails, they rebuilt them for conversational, data-aware agents. The result is governance that finally keeps pace with modern AI deployment practices instead of lagging behind them. Enterprise implications? Profound. Moving small automations, reminder bots, simple approvals, lookup queries into agent flows unclogs Power Automate capacity. It's like rerouting commuter traffic to autonomous lanes so freight trucks can move freely. By merging these microflows under Copilot, departments/redundant per-user licenses and free Power Automate for the heavy industrial workflows it was born to handle. The result is both financial and infrastructural efficiency. We can see where this road ends. Agent flows will continue absorbing Cloudflow functionality, scheduled triggers, batch processing, multi-user visibility, until the distinction becomes semantic. But the direction of travel is irreversible because AI-driven orchestration already fits user behavior better. People talk to Copilot, they don't navigate flow galleries. And as Copilot orchestrates across Teams, chats, Outlook messages, and Dynamics transactions, it's only natural that automation exists there too. Cloudflows will survive, but as backend infrastructure, not the face of enterprise automation. The analogy writes itself. Cloudflows build the highways, agent flows drive themselves along them. And every iteration gets cheaper, safer, and more autonomous. The strategic shift is complete the moment you stop thinking, when should I use Copilot? And start assuming every process will start with it. One last warning for the accountants, duplication kills savings. Many enterprises now pay twice, once for Power Automate Premium to run Cloudflows, and again for Copilot Studio capacity that could have run the same automations message-based. It's licensing déjà vu with a hidden surcharge. Clean architecture means clean billing. Consolidate your automations where the intelligence lives, not where history did. So the next time someone in a meeting says, just make a flow, correct them. Ask calmly, which kind, cloud or agent? One costs by existence, the other costs by performance. The difference is not academic, it's fiscal Darwinism. The future is message-based. Cloud flows automate work. Agent flows automate intelligence. That's the evolutionary jump Microsoft just formalized. The future of automation isn't armies of user-licensed processes running on monthly retainers. It's adaptive agents built exactly for what they do. Every message consumed is a measurable unit of thought, not a lump-sum guessing game. The simplicity is sublime. No connector cast system, no separate AI builder credits, no throttling panic at 11:59 p.m. when a license quota resets. Just clear, consumption-based economics that let you scale automation the same way you scale compute or storage on demand, auditable, and under centralized governance. The stubborn will cling to cloud flows, convinced predictability lies in per-user licensing. They'll keep paying fixed rent for square footage they don't use. Fine, some people still buy DVDs, but the professionals chasing efficiency will migrate to where intelligence lives, inside Copilot Studio, because that's where automation stops being a cost center and becomes a multiplier. Agent flows don't ask you to abandon Power Automate. They ask you to evolve it. Build the infrastructure where AI already resides. Treat every automation as a service within a thinking platform, not a tool hanging off the side. That's how enterprises scale cognition, not just activity. Keep paying per user if inefficiency brings you comfort. Otherwise, move to message-based automation and pay for value, not vanity. If this explanation saved your budget or your sanity, repay the favor efficiently. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Let the next update arrive like a scheduled task. On time, clean, and effortless. Knowledge delivered, conversation over.